Are you struggling to follow your deadline that you set for yourself? Are you struggling to make yourself motivated? That was me struggling as well. I'm struggling to get anything started, or I'm trying to forget about tasks for as long as possible. Let's just take an example of my YouTube channel. At the beginning, it was very easy to get my body moving and, actually get into that mode of recording and editing and all that, everything that associated with it. It was really easy when the initial excitements that drive my body moving, and all of a sudden things doesn't seem so hard to just go back from a long day of work just to go and sit and recording and all that tasks associated with it. Everything was easy, but all of a sudden as the get going stage becomes so hard, I just keep postponing it for as long as possible, or I just tell myself that actually I don't feel like it today, just do my recording when I feel like it. I just do my recording on my day off, and that day never comes. I give myself so many excuses to postpone it for as long as possible, the day that I told myself that I'm going to release that video, and I keep missing the deadline day in, day out. The anxiety and the guilt start kicking in, and one day I've decided, actually, what was the motivation? I need to find that motivation again. If I just wait for one day when my superwoman self kicking in, she would never appear. I just need to make sure that I take in control of my life. What can I do to force myself to get into that workflow, to make sure that I achieving the initial goal that I set? Because otherwise I would just postpone it. Otherwise nothing will ever happen. I just have to force myself. So that was the question that I've asked, to fight that procrastination, to turn myself from a procrastinator into a doer, because this goal means so much to me. I could just take an example. When I was trying to complete my clinical diploma pharmacy together with working full-time, I could just tell myself, actually, I just completed my on-call duty. It was so stressful at work, I'm not gonna get it done. And when weekends comes, oh, there's so much exciting. I can just go to see my friends, or we can go out, we can do so much fun stuff. And that doing the essay was the last thing I had in my mind. Even though understanding how important it is, I was trying to postpone it for as long as possible. I was given 2 years to complete so many essays, and I would just wait until 2 weeks before the deadline when I start writing my first essay. And I remember how stressful it was, and I told myself, Lynn, you need to change, because you didn't give yourself enough time to give the best work, and you were never gonna get the best marks as possible. And I promised myself that I would change, and I never did. And one day, I don't know one day when I realized that in order for things to change, I have to change. If I want to get the work done, and I want to achieve the biggest goal, I had to establish a system to force my body from following the task instead of waiting for the moment when I feel like it. So what did I do? What did I change to help me achieving as many goals as possible? These are the things that I have managed to place into my daily routine in order to force my body to produce the quality work. Step number 1 is to ask yourself, start with why. Ask yourself the question that what was your purpose? Why are you doing this? These are the initial steps that I found from reading Drive by Daniel Pink. What motivates us isn't the reward punishment approach, but what is our initial drive, the deep-seated drive that pushes going forward. As human, we always try to expand and become better version of ourselves. To understand that, and actually understanding what is your goal, how much does it mean to you? That was the decision that I've told myself. I want to live a well-purposed life, to expand my capacity to become better than myself daily, instead of getting to the analysis paralysis mode of making the goal bigger than itself. I could just go break it down into a small chunk, and I just need to make 1% improvement every single day, and that is enough. And what that 1% equivalent with what the action that I'm going to do today, what is that equivalent with? Could it just be 10 minutes of editing? Could it just be 10 minutes of recording? In the Drive book, and I'm going to read it out, research have shown that the secret to achieve high performance isn't our biological drive or our reward and punishment drive, but our drive, our deep-seated desire to direct our lives and extend and expand our ability and to live a life of purpose. So that is the initial approach, to understand what motivates us, and I found that from reading through this book. And the other interesting things that I found from the book is that the drive is the new approach to motivation, and it has 3 essential elements. Element number 1 is autonomy. Autonomy is the desire to direct our own lives. Element number 2 is mastery, is the urge to get better and better at some things that matters. And element number 3 is purpose. So the journey to do what we do in the service of something larger than ourselves. Applying myself as a pharmacist, I could just think, actually, I don't really like going to do the job. I hate the job. I hate all the complaining I'm facing. Or I can just tell myself that actually I'm contributing to this society. I'm using the knowledge that I've gathered to support somebody. If I just need to make one intervention and it's going to support and improving the quality of life of one person, for me that is enough. And that job is no longer become a chore. I feel inclined in to do that. I no longer had to motivate myself to get out of bed in the morning, knowing that I'm contributing, knowing that I am making an impact into somebody else's life. Only yourself will know what is that internal drive and how much it will mean to you. Step number 2 is actually understand how our body and brain is wired. We used to think we had that wrong facts, the wrong myth that we would just wait until we feel like it. We think that we would wait until we have the time, then we will take the action. But actually, just like the Nike, the logo of Nike, just do it. We just have to take the action and then we will feel like it. Our brain and our body is wired into that negative and positive loop. If we wait until we feel like it and then we will do it, then we will never feel like it. And then we never do it. Because we never do it, we don't feel like it. And we're postponing and postponing and postponing until someday the task has become so big and we get so stressed and we get into that analysis paralysis mode and we never take the action. Or if we can switch and put our body into the positive loop of actually taking the action, we do it and then we feel like, as we feel like we're doing the task, and as we do the task, we get better at it. As we get better at it, our body producing that dopamine, or we feel better about ourselves, and we, as a positive loop, it inclined to repeat the same action, and as we repeating it, we're getting better at it. We want to do it more, and your body is drive into that positive loop. Get your body to do the task. You probably get into that flow state, and you didn't want to stop. And I've mentioned about this flow state in my previous video when I talk about finding my purpose or following my ikigai, and I will put that link in the description below if you haven't watched that video. And a happy life is just a collection of many happy days when we get to do that flow state. The difficulty is not the task itself, but building the discipline to take action. And it's only just take that initial 10-15 minutes when we force our chimpanzee brain, our lower self, to do the task. And we can just start with doing the easy task first. The other lesson that I found from reading through Getting Things Done by David Allen is that if it only takes 2 minutes to do the task, then choose to just do it anyway. So we can just plan it out that this is the daytime that I'm going to do this task, and these are all of the activity that I'm going to do during that time. And you can just give yourself the easy task first, that the task that only take 2 minutes first, and then as you get into do it, you will feel more inclined to it because you feel good about yourself, that you are following your commitment. Because we only feel stressed when we know that we don't follow the agreement that we set for ourselves. The other thing that I find useful is that I give that accountability to somebody else. For me, I'm doing this with Tristan, and he would give me that motivation, we give me that discipline. It's just like you going to the gym with your personal trainer, you will more likely to stick with that habit more than if you just do the task by yourself. The other final tip that I would like to share with you guys that has helped me to change from a procrastinator into a doer is that I have a regret minimization framework. Again, I have mentioned that in the previous video, and I will put the link in the description below if you haven't watched that video. Again, using the YouTube video as an example, my lower part of my brain will always tell myself that I'm not good enough and I should just stick to something that I know, something that I'm familiar with, and no one would like to just sit and listen to my video. Or I could just tell myself that this is something that I'm interested in, I'm following my ikigai, I will regret it if I don't take the action. Yes, I am fearful, sometimes I get scared, but I would have to do it anyway because I will regret it if I don't do it. So whatever's goal, the bigger the goal that you set for yourself, the more obstacle, the more resistance naturally you're going to face. You're going to face resistance, you're going to face that self-doubt, but just take the action anyway, just do it. So what is your goal? Would you regret it if you don't take the action? If the answer is yes, then just do the task. Just stick with it. Keep calm and carry on. Just like anything in life, the difference between success and failure is that everybody had ideas, everybody have goals and ambitions, but the difference between the doer and procrastinator, or the successor and failure, is that the success people, they take the action. That's it. That's all for me today. Several steps and approach that I have to support me with the grinding process, the get-going process, time when things get hard, time when it's needed to build that grit to overcome the obstacle, the challenges that we are going to face with whatever goals and dream that we set for ourselves. If you have any other hints and tips that you have tried so far to support you to build that motivation, to build that resilience and grit, please share it in my comment. If you find it useful, if you have learned even just one thing from my video, why not like and subscribe to my channel? It supports me to grow and it helped me to spread these messages to as many people as possible. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to see you again in the next video. Take care and goodbye.